Welcome to the Creative Bohemian. I'm Diane, and I just wanted to show you what we'll be working on today. I wanted to bring you with me on my little miniature project and go over how I created this floor. What I did to do the parquet floor is I got a bunch of coffee stirrers. They're 5.5 inches. Wood stirrers. Some of them, it's 1,000 count in this box, and it costs practically nothing. So that's how many you get in there. That's a lot of parquet floors you could make with that. Plus they got some really funky shapes on some of them because they're, you know, they're not perfect. I particularly like that. I mean, you never know. You might need a piece of bent wood. It's a good thing to keep in your stash for that day when you're thinking you need some bent wood. And with miniatures, you usually do. So what I did is I decided that everything was going to be 1 inch by 1 inch. So I just went ahead and I marked off 1 inch all along, and you get 5 pieces in every inch. So I had to do 240. I need 240 pieces, and so what I did is I pre-cut them all, and this is a bag full of them, and I'll show you how I did that. These are so thin that you can cut them with a scissor. You literally, they do go flying like that, but if you have a barrier in front of you for them to hit and bounce back. But I have had to retrieve a few. They fall on the floor. Oop. So I have a bag full of these final tips that I'm not going to be using, but God knows that's going to be something again that I can use in a future project when I'm looking for little pieces that small. So I keep everything. I'm a hoarder, I know it. I'm a miniaturist hoarder. That's part of our makeup, I guess. It's kind of fun. If it wasn't, it would have been very tedious to make all of these, but it goes pretty quick with a scissor. I first started to do it with a X-Acto knife, and that was harder than doing it with a scissor, so I just resorted to the scissor. And the last one. There you go. Gather them all up. Got the little ones all over the place. And there we have it. Now, see? Love that sound. I'm gonna have to get some kind of oil to oil that off, so you guys aren't hearing my squeak every time I move. Cleaning up. I always try to keep a clean area because I am messy, and I know that about myself, and if I don't clean it as I go, I won't have any room around me. Sometimes I finish a project and I'm just surrounded by supplies, and it takes me a good time to clean it up, so clean as you go. So what I did is I went ahead and pre-cut cardboard or illustration board inserts. This will be the patio insert, and what I'll do is I will work directly on this when I'm doing the bricks for my patio. Actually haven't really figured out whether it's going to be brick, flagstone, just slate, whatever. I haven't figured that out, so that'll be a later project. This is the smoother end. This is actually an old, the back of a pastel paper pad, art pad, and I used to use it to cut stuff instead of the mat. Oh, stray. And so I would use this side, the smoother side, so that everything goes down smoothly. In miniature, everything needs to be smooth, because if you were to blow it up in real life, there'd be like real bumps showing everywhere. Now this is the back side. Again, I reuse everything. I was doing some artwork where this actually said family, and I never finished it. So I was like, oh, okay. This will be our ceiling, and it's from watercolor paper, and I like the textured this of the watercolor paper for a ceiling. It will be painted too, because most ceilings aren't smooth as glass, so I do like the texture in that. That will come soon. We'll put that up. Now this is illustration board. This is for the floor inside. And since I'm doing a parquet floor, I'm going to do it on the gray side of the illustration board. And that way you won't see the white peeping through if the little pieces of wood don't match up exactly. They'll be less likely to see it. Now, I was hemming and hawing whether to stain these to keep them the way they are as natural wood, and I decided natural wood because I don't want to take the chance that by staining these really thin wafer-like pieces of wood that they would warp from the moisture of staining. So I've decided I'm going to keep it as natural wood. So what I'm going to do now is draw, using my mat, all the lines to follow. Now on the ends, as you can see, this does not make an exact inch on each side, and you always work from the middle out, middle out. You never go along here and then start, because then if you do that, you're going to have these tiny, much shorter ends here. As in a real room, you always start from the center. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw my grid and be right back. You can watch me speed up to do that. Okay, now the center, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's your center, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these two boxes are where I'm going to start. Now I could use Mod Podge. I don't think I could use that. I think it's too thin. So I'm just going to use Tacky glue. And that's how I'm going to start doing this. And I don't use too much, again, because too much warps. And I don't think they're going anywhere. We're going to start going this way. Now, obviously, cutting them with a scissor, they're not as precise as if I had cut them with the X-Acto knife, but that's fine. Need a little bit more glue on this one. Oops, see? there is going to be spacing issues, but let's make this go all the way to the edge, but very little. I don't want it to seep too much. Now these are going to turn this way. I actually have this flooring in the room I'm sitting in my studio, but we covered it with vinyl flooring, and as I'm doing this, I'm like, why did I do that? I should. Okay, so the next one would be horizontal, then vertical, then horizontal, then vertical. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to work, I think, in 6s, and then I'm going to do the outside last. So now we're going to do some vertical. See, now I might end up going in and filling that with wood filler. I don't know. Either that, or I might like it this shabby looking version. So okay, now the glue is all dry, and after I look at this, I decided that I did want to fill in all the cracks and the uneven spots. If you can see how, because I cut them with the scissor, the pieces of wood just were not all the same length, exact. It's far from fine craftsmanship. So to make up for that, I'm going to use wood filler. I did go out and buy this at Lowe's, and it's, I don't know if it makes a difference, but it's color changing wood filler. It's a pretty pink color, and we're going to fill in the cracks with that, and I'm assuming it turns to the brown color of wood once it's dry. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and fill in all the cracks, and we'll see how it turns out. I'm going to try not to put too much at once. I'm most concerned with where the seams are, where they meet, each square meets each other, rather than between the planks themselves. And then after this dries, we'll do a nice sanding and then a nice varnish. Now, obviously, this is like watching glue dry, so I will speed up the video for you right here, and we'll be back together in a moment. It's easier, I'm finding that it's easier now if I just skim it across the whole piece, and then the filler gets caught in any grooves that are left. Turning brown, this is already brown. There we are. Let's close this up so it doesn't. Nice snap. Always listen for the snap, right? And now it's all filled in. So we're gonna leave this for a couple of hours and come back to it. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna trim the edges even. And then we're going to give it a good sanding and then varnish it. So see you back here in a little while. Okay, now 2 hours have gone by and it is time to sand. Now this is my sand bag. Everything I need to sand, small pieces, large pieces, I usually keep in this bag. And I keep strips. I don't, as I said in my previous video, I do not throw much out. But I find that nail files are one of the best things to use to sand with miniatures because they're small. But for this flat, open space, we are going to use a regular piece of medium coarse sandpaper. Now, in some places, obviously, the spackle or the wood filler is much heavier, so I have to go back in and pay a little more attention to those spots so that we can get back down to the wood grain. You see right there, it's only slightly damp. Now I'm just going to wipe this down. See how it looks. I don't want to get the wood too wet because that will just warp everything, and that's the last thing I want to do. And now what I have is this small, I went to Lowe's when I went and got the wood filler. I bought this polyurethane. It's called Warm Satin. Professional results guaranteed. So, you know, how you go wrong? So butter knife comes in very handy. Brand new brush. works fast. So there you have it. That's the floor installed. I'm pretty happy with it. I'd like to know what you think. Just leave some comments below. Tell me what you thought. Maybe something that you would have done differently. Maybe some technique that I have not used that you thought would be a better idea. I hope you join me next time. I am going to be doing this back wall, and that is going to be made out of brick. And there's many ways to do miniature brick, so if you tune in, we'll talk about them. Until then, talk to you later. Bye.